Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Dave and today we'll be taking a look at the iPhone XR and seeing if it's still usable today in 2026. I just picked this up on eBay last week for like $40 and as you can see this is quite in good condition. It does have a few scratches and scuffs around the camera and I think around here, but doesn't really matter, especially for such a low price. And of course it does have a few scratches on the screen, but again, that's completely expected for like $40, so I'm not complaining. The biggest issue, however, is the battery. Now, once I plugged this into my Mac and Coconut battery, it said that the battery life is at around 75%, and at first I thought, hey, that's quite bad. But then I checked the cycle count and it said that it had 1,830 cycles, and that's just crazy. But even so, I quickly swapped it with a $12 battery of Amazon, and yeah, it's much better now. Swapping the battery is actually super easy. It only took me like 5 or so minutes, so yeah, and now it does show that the battery is at 100%. Of course, you do get this error which says important battery message, but yeah, and after checking it with Coconut battery, it's actually at like 102%. So yeah, this is quite a good quality battery. I'll drop a link down below for the one that I purchased off Amazon. Now, I wanted this in product red color because I think this is by far one of the nicest colors that Apple has ever put on an iPhone. And it's also because my wife used to have a red iPhone XR that I gifted to her back in 2018, I think, just shortly after release. And she absolutely loved that phone. She later upgraded to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and ever since then she used every iPhone Pro Max after that. Usually the hand-me-down Pro Maxes that I had the year before. So yeah, right now she's on the iPhone 16 Pro Max or something. Oh, and by the way, only 3% of people watching my videos are actually subscribed. And if you have a second, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It helps out a lot since I'm just starting out. Thank you so much. Either way, this phone was indeed a bit controversial at release. Why? Well, because of the display. And I feel like this is a good place to start. Apple calls this a liquid retina LCD. That is technically edge to edge. As you can see, the bezel is quite even on all of the borders, but yeah, the bezel is huge by today's standards. It was huge even by 2018 standards. But it doesn't matter how thick the bezels were. People wanted this new form factor. The iPhone X came out just 1 year before this and set a new trend with these edge-to-edge displays and of course the famous notch. But in 2017, people really weren't willing to pay like $1,000 for the iPhone X. But once this came out, like just 1 year later, and had the exact same form factor with the notch and the new edge-to-edge display, and it was 25% cheaper as it started at $750. And yeah, people jumped on this. It did very well when it came to sales. This was a huge success, to be honest. It was a much cheaper way to enter Apple's new era with the new design, Face ID, no home button, and when compared to the iPhone X, it even had a much better quality camera, a faster A12 CPU, and of course, the battery life was amazing. It had a much bigger battery than the iPhone X. In fact, even though the iPhone XR came out at the exact same time as the iPhone XS and flagship XS Max, the iPhone XR still had the best battery life out of all of those three new devices. Why? Well, it's simple. A dimmer and lower resolution display. And speaking of lower resolution, yeah, it was only 1792 by 828 pixels, which is quite low for modern standards. It came in at like 326 ppi, and while not amazing, it was fine. And just like MKBHD mentioned in his review, if you want to put this phone in a bad light, if you want to make it look bad, then compare it to an iPhone 4, which also had the exact same PPI of 326. But so did the iPhone 8, and nobody complained that the iPhone 8 had a low resolution or low PPI, so trust me, the display on this device is fine. Yeah, if you're pixel peeping or putting it next to a newer iPhone with an OLED display and high resolution, yeah, you'll notice the difference. But honestly, this was the phone that you would buy for, I don't know, your wife, your mom, your kid. They probably didn't care about the slightly lower resolution, but they definitely did care about the bigger battery. Speaking of batteries, here's something that I actually use every single day. This is the ESR 3-in-1 wireless charging station. And if you want to declutter your desk, trust me, you're going to love this. It lets you charge your iPhone with MagSafe, your Apple Watch, and your AirPods all at the exact same time in one clean setup. The magnets are very strong, charging is fast, and it looks great on any desk or nightstand. I even use it to charge this exact iPhone XR, just by placing it on this mat, and as you can see, it starts charging right away. So yeah, grab yours from ESR's official website with 25% off using my code on the screen, or you can also find the code in the description. But yeah, back to the video. And let me just quickly clean this because Yeah, this didn't have the frosted back glass, it just had a standard glass back, and it would get fingerprinty within 5 seconds of you touching it. So the main question, is it usable today? Well, sadly it stopped receiving support at iOS 18.7.2 if I'm not mistaken. Let me just quickly double check. 18.7.3, okay. Now it didn't receive iOS 26 and liquid glass, but honestly, I think that's for the best, because to be honest, iOS 26 destroyed performance and battery life on older devices. While it's fine on the newer iPhone 17 Pro Max, even the iPhone 16 Pro, on these older devices like the iPhone 11 and even at the iPhone 12, it just destroyed performance and battery life. I also do have an iPhone 11 here, which I updated to iOS 26. This is technically the successor to the iPhone XR because it came in the exact same form factor, and actually it had an identical display to the iPhone XR with the same bezels, the same PPI, the same notch, everything was identical. But yeah, iOS 26 on this guy, it's bad. Trust me, it's very bad, and honestly I do regret updating this to iOS 26 and liquid glass, but hey. Now technically I think that Apple could have easily updated this device to iOS 26, well, made it support iOS 26. Why? Well, let me show you. This is an iPad 8th generation. Let me see if I can fit it in. And guess what? This iPad has the exact same specs as the iPhone XR. It has the exact same CPU, the A12, 3GB of RAM, and guess what? This one supports iOS 26, but this stopped at iOS 18. But even so, I didn't update this to iOS 26 because I just know it'll kill it. So technically this will still get support for all of the apps, and most of them will still be supported for another 2 to 3 years, I would say, so that's not an issue. And either way, in 2 to 3 years time, this phone will be like 10 years old, so it'll be completely outdated either way. But let me also just open a few apps and showcase how this phone works today. So let's go to settings. Yeah, this works fine. Let's open email. Yeah, it does take an extra second to load, but it's fine. Let's go to YouTube. Yeah, that was quite fast. Shout out to Snazzy Labs, love your videos. What else can I show you? Well, speaking of YouTube, let's open YouTube Studio. Yeah, this was already loaded, but yeah, this is fine. Let's also load TikTok. Yeah, it does take an extra second to load, but once it loaded, it's just fine. Or is it? Yeah, it's fine. Chances are you've probably used one. And the speakers are also very good on this device, and honestly, I have no complaints. Okay, let's try Safari. Yeah, Safari works just fine. Yeah, it is quite slow, I'll be honest. I'm not gonna beat it around the bush. It's slow, but it's completely usable and it has support for all of the apps, and this will be fine for a few more years. Trust me. Especially if you're getting it as a secondary device or for your mom, or it'll be fine, they're not gonna complain. What I did notice, however, is that apps do get cleared out of memory quite quickly because it only has 3GB of RAM, unlike the iPhone XS, which had like 4GB. But the A12 chip, as you can see, is still more than capable today. Is it slow? Yeah, kinda. Is it usable? Yeah, kinda. The camera was also fine, I guess. Video quality was actually excellent on this device, but photo quality was a bit hit and miss. Let me just take a quick photo here. I'll actually just add a side-by-side comparison with the latest iPhone 17 Pro, and you can see for yourself that, yeah, there are some differences, but they're not as major as you might think. And fun fact, this was actually the first ever iPhone that was capable of shooting portrait photos without a secondary lens, as it relied more on computational photography. So let me just show you. But yeah, as you can see, it says no person detected. That was one of the downsides of this portrait mode on the iPhone XR. It had to detect a person, otherwise it just simply wouldn't work. Apple later added an update which made it support pets as well, but still, it was very limited. And as I said, the speakers are actually very good. It has a speaker in the earpiece and a speaker down here, stereo speakers. Honestly, they sound better than the iPhone Air, so make of that what you will. But either way, let's go back to the main question, and that is, should you pick one up today? Well, that depends, as always. If you only have, say, $50 to $80 to spare, and you want to use this as your main and only device, and I don't know, you're in a bad financial situation and you desperately need a phone, then yes, sure, pick one up today. As I said, it can still be okay for another, 2 to 3 years, but to be honest, I would probably just save up a few more dollars and get the iPhone 12, because the updates that this phone brings are huge compared to the iPhone XR and even the iPhone 11. The iPhone X came with an OLED display, high resolution, higher brightness, thinner bezels, MagSafe, a new design, so much more. So yeah, I would definitely save up from the iPhone XR and pick up an iPhone 12. What I wouldn't do, on the other hand, is save up for an iPhone 11, because this thing is basically almost the same as the iPhone XR. Yeah, you do get an extra camera, yeah, you do get a faster CPU and slightly better battery life, and iOS 26 support, but you probably shouldn't update it either way, so yeah. Honestly, iPhone XR or iPhone 11, both are good, but I would probably save up for an iPhone 12. So yeah, as always, if you've ever used an iPhone XR, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you're interested in seeing a video on the iPhone 11 or the 12 or any other iPhone for that matter, drop a comment down below. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, I'll see you in the next one. This was Dave on Tech signing out. Cheers.